Shoot. Can anyone hear me?
I can.
Yeah.
Yes, no. All right, you got the live streaming going. That's good. All right. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. So I guess we got to let all the attendees in now before we get going. Oh, Don fell off. Here we go.
Do you see me and hear me?
I do now, Don.
All
I
right.
see the the bottom of your face.
Oh, all right. That's the better
That's
part.
better. Lean back.
All right. I don't know, whatever the deal is. All right. Here I am.
All right, so you got to promote everybody to panelists, I guess, in the audience first. Let me do that now. Sarah? Shall we promote them all right now?
Can you hear us, Sarah?
No? Sarah? Can you hear us?
I saw her a minute ago.
Well, she was talking before. She's there. I see her, but
Yeah,
she
she's there.
obviously doesn't hear us. No, she's blinking. Yeah.
That's strange.
Tell her to wave her hands if she hears us. Sarah, wave your hands if you hear us.
She doesn't, and then she just muted herself.
Huh? No. I'm texting her. We're gonna have to do lip reading, I think.
Maybe if she leaves and comes back in again.
She
She
said
just texted me and said she's working on it.
she's trying to fix, yeah.
All right.
Should I tell her to do that, Linda?
It's a thought
To do what? Sign out and sign back in?
to leave and then come back on again. Yeah.
Leave the room.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
Wow.
Someone say something.
Yay!
Yay! Sorry, I don't know what I did. Okay, I'm so sorry about that. What'd I miss?
Well, we just seen
Nothing.
it.
Well, you missed us
Promote
trying to
everybody to
get you
panelists.
on.
I decided to promote everybody to panelists while you're waiting, so.
Okay, thank you. Did you read the introduction?
No, not yet. I was
No,
about
I haven't done anything.
We're waiting for you.
All right, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay. All right, so this meeting of the Historic District Commission will take place in a webinar format through Zoom. The chair of the commission is Sarah Moriarty. The host of the webinar is the building official. Staff attending this meeting include Peters of English, Seamus Quinn, and Linda Galetta. Anyone speaking should state their names prior to speaking each time. The panelists in the webinar meeting will be the commission members and the building staff. Panelists who would like to comment on an item should indicate by raising the icon, the raise hand at the bottom of the screen. After a panelist raises their hand, they will be able to comment one at a time when called upon by the chairperson. Panelists should mute their microphones until called upon. To make a motion or second a motion, commission members can raise a hand and can be acknowledged by the host or chair. To vote on a motion, commission members will be called upon individually by the chair to vote. The public can participate in the meeting during the public communications agenda item. The public will be asked to raise their hand during the public communications if they want to speak at this time by using the icon to raise hand at the bottom of the screen. The public will be called upon by the host one at a time and will be able to speak during this time. Attendees must identify themselves before speaking. And that is the end of the instructions.
Thank you, Peter. Right, I will call the meeting to order on, it's 7:07 on June 16th. And I don't believe that we need to seat anybody. So I will start by taking a roll call. Moriarty here. Giannakopoulos,
Here.
Brady,
Here.
Levinson,
Here.
Goodman,
Here.
Summers, I believe is absent. Galetta,
Here.
Sabinakalis,
Here.
and Quinn. I don't think Seamus is here either. All right. So Todd, are you able to read the call or would you like me to? Do you have it?
I've got it in front of me here.
Okay.
Dear Michelle, please publish the following public notice of one insertion on Monday, June 8, 2020. Town of Groton notice of public hearing, Historic District Commission. The Historic District Commission will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, June 16, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Groton Town Hall Annex, 134 Groton Long Point Road to hear the following applications requesting a certificate of appropriateness. HDC 20-33, 5 Water Street, SIFT Real Estate LLC, owner applicant, modified COA 2267, PIN number 261918308613. HDC 20-34, 8 High Street, 810 to 10 High Street, owner applicant, condensers and line sets, PIN number 2618063937888. HDC 20-35, 9 Elm Street, John and Julie Leonard, owners, Cody Blake applicant, condenser, PIN number 2619182066596. HDC 20-36, 6 Park Place, Kenneth and Dina Siegel, owners, GP Real Estate Solutions applicant, replace windows, PIN number 2619184264886. HDC 20-37, 48 West Main Street, Madeline R. Joy et al., owner, Bethany Perkins applicant, signage, PIN number 2619183088935. HDC 20-38, 16 Latham Street, Heather and Alex Giannakopoulos, owners applicants, stone wall, PIN number 2619183011135. HDC 20-39, 29 Gravel Street, Sultan Ahmed, owner, Robert Mercer applicant, modify certificate of appropriateness 2260, PIN number 2619184232126. HDC 20-40, 81 High Street, Laurie Johnson, owner applicant, install fence, PIN number 2619183022416. HDC 20-41, 17 West Main Street, Steamboat Wharf Condominium Association owner, Pamela Bergantino, applicant, signage. PIN number 26181840174200051. HCC 20-42, 46 West Main Street, Roach 46 LLC owner, Adam Young applicant, signage, window and exhaust hood, PIN number 2619183099937. Todd Brady, secretary.
Thank you. All right, so we will start our public hearing and I will call HDC 20-15, 54 West Main Street. This is Chris Dubard, who we have continued. I don't believe that we need to continue it again because we've continued it for several months. Is that correct, Linda? It's just going to keep showing up on our agenda?
It is going to keep showing up on our agenda, and I actually have an application from Century 21, Lori Finnan.
Oh, great.
For the next meeting, so
Okay.
hopefully it's going to move forward.
All right,
But you should, in the consideration of public hearing,
continue to continue it. I lost you, Linda.
Oh, you should continue it during consideration of public hearing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So next is HDC 20-25, 56 West Main Street. I believe I saw them here in the panelists. Mr. Bouchard, were you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Very good. Well, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, I'm the mechanical contractor, looking to do the walk-in cooler at Mystic Pizza. And in attendance this evening, I have Steve Nusopoulos, the architect, and that will lead the presentation to present the plans. I had emailed Linda with the updated specifications and existing images, also with a conceptual illustration to support the project. And I'd like to introduce Steve Nusopoulos, and he'll take the lead in on presenting that updated information.
All right.
I do just want to interject that the updated information did not get to us in time for the 24-hour FOIA window. So
Okay.
it has not been posted to the website at this point.
Noted. Are we still able to do the presentation to give you the committee the background on the project as we move forward?
So what were the differences between what you were trying to submit prior to the deadline versus what's been actually submitted?
The schedule of materials and the actual plan for the decorative fencing and stuff has been updated and changed to give you a better idea of what the final look will be.
So if what we're looking at now isn't what you're looking to do, then unfortunately we'll have to wait till that additional information can be uploaded into the system.
Okay, because Stephen has the images up and he can screen share to review the updated changes now if it's possible.
Well, unfortunately, I wish we could, and we're all learning with this Zoom platform and having these meetings, but we have to meet FOIA requirements. So we have to have the information that you're presenting available 24 hours in advance prior to the meeting for the public to be able to see it.
Noted. So then we will continue from here to the next meeting.
That would make the most sense to me, because we can't see what you'd like to do, so then it would be hard to approve or make comments.
Okay. I thought I was under the impression through screen share that we would be able to review those specifications.
So as a matter of how the meeting goes, in the future, you can sometimes control the screen and screen share. That's not the issue. The issue is more FOIA, that the public hasn't had the opportunity to review it in advance of the meeting.
Noted. So we're continuing.
Okay. So today is the 16th. So our next meeting will be the 7th, just for your own records.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No.
All right. HDC 20-33, 5 Water Street, Sift Real Estate. Do we have them here?
I saw Cody there and I thought Cody was going to present. Cody.
I'm here, sorry.
Okay, great.
Sorry about that.
Wake up, Cody.
Yeah. Cody Blake, Mr. Connecticut. Tonight, it's just an amendment to the original sign they want to put for the new mixed restaurant. Originally, they were calling it a banner, but it's actually not a banner. It's a PVC cutout fixed lettering to the back. Oh, there you go, this picture right there. Painted orange, and we fixed it to the building, so it's not actually a banner, which I think they were just misleading the first time. So we just want to get it right this time.
Okay. And do we have the dimensions in this application?
I think they were submitted.
I'm just going to jump in. The information was correct, just
From
the makeup was never correctly explained.
Right. Can you
They were calling it banner last time, which, you know, it's not a banner, as you can see.
Right. Can you go back to the application page, Peter, please? All right, so they're looking to modify the existing COA. So then from my perspective, this particular document doesn't need to reflect the dimensions because the previous one did.
Right.
Okay.
I'm going to recuse myself from this one because I was involved in it, but I'm not sure we really need to even modify anything. We just wanted to make sure that what was originally presented was clarified, because when we had discussed it a couple of weeks ago, it was, we as the commission looked at it as like a hanging banner, and it's not
Right.
hanging.
Well, it was described as a temporary banner too, I think, so.
Right. And Heather brings up a good point. This is going to be fixed year round.
That's correct.
So if the dimensions were correct on the prior application, and then the changes reflected are that it's not a banner, it is a sign affixed to the building that will be on display year round.
That's correct.
I don't know. I would have to go in my email to look to see what the previous approval actually said. It's possible that it might have referenced, because we've been seeing a lot of these things recently and have been discussing the seasonality of them and whether they even need to come before us, whether we have jurisdiction or not. So I don't know if there was a seasonal limitation placed on their certificate.
My recollection, Sarah, if I can just jump in real quick, is that the sign out front that was near the pergola was permanent. The one in the back was banner, and you had determined that it didn't fall under your jurisdiction as long as it was only up for 90 days or less.
So did we not approve it?
Well, you didn't really have to approve it. I think that's what it came down to, that you did not have to approve the banner. In my, as I recollect.
Yeah, I'm trying to look back.
I'm trying, let me look and see if I can see what I sent to Linda for approvals for the things I signed and see what it says.
Can I just jump in really quick? Because I presented that one.
Please.
So as far as the approval, the application was approved with the stipulation that it would only be up for the 90 days.
I'm glad someone remembers.
Yep. So, because I was looking back at the application just to see the dimensions in the event that you guys still wanted to know what they are, and they're 30 by 60.
Okay.
But that was your stipulation when we had originally put it in for approval.
Okay. So when this moves to a vote, I think that we should have a discussion then as to how to draft the approval, because it's changing.
Well, plus, do we actually have the dimensions in the record? We don't have the materials in the record because it was a banner. So we need that.
So I'm so sorry to interrupt again. I just found the COA actually that you sent back to me. So the banner does not need approval so long as it is up 90 days or less. The banner is not considered at this time, as applicant states it will be up less than 90 days.
Was there something else was approved. Their front sign was approved.
Yeah.
The sign was approved.
Yeah, off the front pergola.
Peter, can you put that application back up for me? Actually, I can look at it. I got it. I've got it on the side. So unfortunately, I think to do this right, a new application unfortunately needs to be submitted. It's not that I have any objection to the sign, it's that we never approved the previous banner. So to certify, to make a modification to the previous certificate of appropriateness, there's nothing to modify because it was never approved. You know, that's
Okay,
a pain in
so
the neck
you-
for everybody, but
What we were voting on was approved, which was the front sign.
right.
Yeah.
So there's no, and because we didn't have jurisdiction, because we believed the banner to be temporary, we never voted on the back signage. So there's no back signage to modify.
Yeah, I'm looking back. You're right, Sarah. There's nothing even in the original packet. Except that it was a banner, so.
So just completely,
Just do a new one.
I do a new
Do a
one.
new one and come to the next meeting.
Great.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Cody, you love coming to these meetings. Come on.
yes, so you need to have the dimensions and the materials described.
Okay. Yeah, because it's not coming down. I mean, you can see I got it bolted to the wall. So 90 days, we'll still be hanging. Okay, I'll come on. We'll fill it up tomorrow.
Thank you, Cody.
No problem.
All right. HDC 20-34, 8 High Street.
Yes, my name is Stanley Wiafe. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I am looking to install line sets on the side of the house and condenser units underneath the staircases. Currently, there are, I'm the owner of the home, one of the owners, and I am going to be doing the work myself. I own an HVAC company. Currently, there are propane tanks in the positions where we're going to be replacing the propane tanks with these condenser units. The line sets are going to have covers, and the covers will be painted to match the house to blend in with the shingles and the new paint job that we've applied to the house. The line sets will run along down the house to the right underneath the staircase where the current propane tanks are. The current propane tanks are covered with, bushes at the moment. We can keep the bushes. We can, apply fencing, whatever you guys would like. We'll be installing 3 condenser units for the 3 units on this side. And on the other side of the house, we will be replacing the keeping the propane tank that's there and putting another condenser unit looks like about 15 feet to the left of the current propane tank. And we can also put a fence. I don't know if that was something you guys would like, but that's what we are applying for today.
So two of the condensing units are going to be underneath the porch, or 3 of them underneath the porch that you showed us before, the back stairs.
Correct. We're going to remove the existing propane tanks. There were 3. One of them was already removed. There's 2 currently. We want to remove them completely and install the condenser units for more ductless mini splits, more efficient way of heating and cooling the house.
And the one that's in the back, is that visible from the street?
Yes, it is.
That one?
Yeah.
No, not that one, the other side.
Oh, the other one with the driveway.
That one.
What's the what angle are you? Where are you standing when you took that picture?
I'm standing in the driveway.
So is your back to a street?
Yes.
So you can see the back of the house from the street.
you can see, you will be able to see that from the street. The fence will be there. There will be bushes, but you will be able to see it, just like you see the propane tank that's there now.
Yeah, so, all right, I don't think that's an issue.
So Stanley, right now, your application is for the condenser. So
Correct.
if you wanted to do something, and we can talk to you about it if you want advice or.
Yeah, whatever you guys would like. I could put a fence around it, whatever. Currently, the propane tank looks pretty ugly. But the condenser unit the dimensions are 32 by 35 by 13 inches wide. I don't know. I'm asking for approval if that would be okay. The line sets won't be visible from this street angle. It's just going to be the unit. The line sets are going to be run through the basement, so you won't see them on that side of the house. You will see the line sets on the opposite side of the house where the other 3 condenser units are going.
Is there going to be some kind of pad that the condensers sit on?
Yep, but you won't be able to see that. They're only about 3 inches tall. The grass.
What's it made out of?
It's a plastic, a really hard plastic, or we can put a concrete pad down also. But they come with this really plastic that goes down on the floor, a pad that you can mount the condenser to.
Okay.
Does anyone have any additional questions or comments for the applicant? No?
No.
Okay. I think we're set, Stanley.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does that mean? Yeah.
So the way this process works is we'll go through the rest of our agenda, and once we go through all of the applications, then we'll close the public hearings. You can still hear us, but we're the only ones who speak, and then we'll vote on all of the applications.
Okay.
If you don't want to wait around, which you certainly don't have to, you'll get a letter in the mail as to what the vote was.
Okay.
Certainly up to you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So would anyone in the audience like to speak for this application? Would anyone in the audience like to speak against this application? HDC 20-34 is closed. All right, HDC 20-35, 9 Elm Street, John and Julie Leonard. It looks like, Cody, you're the applicant?
Sorry. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I said unmute. My office is tight quarters. Yeah, we're gonna add a condenser to the existing second story of the finished room that they have. We're gonna hang it off the south side wall. The line sets will be buried inside the wall, so you'll just see the condenser. Yep, but those line sets they're already gone. They'll just hang, and that'll be it. Maybe we'll do something around it, bush or something, but you can't even see her right now, so there you go.
Is that the view from the road, or is that just up
That's
the
street
driveway?
side. Sorry, yeah,
Okay.
that's right from Elm Street, south side of Elm Street.
Thanks.
So you're installing a condenser. Do we have the condenser?
No, not yet. Just a Mitsubishi.
I just didn't know if you had a picture of it.
No.
It's just the standard small.
Small, yeah, it's a small unit.
They just changed their specs on some of them, so they haven't even released the information on it yet. That's why we're waiting.
But the only thing you'll see will just be the condenser, or like I said, maybe a arborvitae or something to the west of it, east, sorry.
Is it on the ground or is it elevated?
Yeah, it's elevated. So kind of where those line sets are, that's about the bottom of it. So it hangs off the side of that building.
But you're gonna strap to the building?
Yep. Yeah, that's just a little walkway through there. So I'm just trying to still be able to access it a little bit.
No dimensions. Just scrolling through your application on my computer.
No. I can dig some up, hold on, but probably not.
Say that again.
I'm just seeing if I can dig some up right now, but if I had some in the email, I don't have anything though.
They just shrunk them all, so we're trying to get new specs from Mitsubishi directly through a plumbing company, but they can't even provide anything at this point because the thing hasn't even been delivered. I'm making them smaller.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I like smaller. I would just like to know what dimensions
Maybe
are
we'll,
for the application.
yeah, I can get you those. I mean, I don't even want to spitball anything because I'm not sure what it is.
All right.
But it's not much taller than that window to the right that you're looking at right there. That window's probably 2 feet tall. Maybe it's 3 feet tall max.
It's going right next to the window.
To the left of it. But yeah, right, pretty much right next to the window.
I mean, the issue is that technically we're supposed to see what it looks like, right?
Right. Right.
I mean, it's
Dimensions.
obviously not a big deal, but
Yep.
Still need it.
yeah. So moving right along.
Got an 0 for 2, Cody.
All right.
Well, let the thing show up and then just resubmit it for the next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fine. It should, I'll have it in, well, I mean, I'll have it by then, so I can hang it and get some pictures and submit everything. I'll get sizes for you guys.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, don't worry about my Tuesday nights. Thanks, guys.
We're here.
Wasn't working.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Cody. All right. HDC 20-36, 6 Park Place, Mr. and Mrs. Siegel.
Glenn Pelton's here. I'm here as GP Real Estate Solutions as the applicant.
All right. Go ahead.
We are looking to replace the old wood windows that are in place now with Anderson 400 series Woodwright. They'll just be regular replacement insert windows. Basically everything existing is staying in place, no different sizes or anything like that.
You're replacing all the windows?
Yes.
And so they have simulated, are they simulated divided lights? What are they?
Full divided light.
You're replacing them as is, so whatever they are, they're going to be
Correct.
6/6 or 4/4 or whatever's existing.
Correct.
Okay.
And then just removing the storm windows that are on the outside as well.
That's a lot of windows.
Yes, it is.
Does anyone have any additional questions for the applicant?
No.
It's like everything is here.
And so, Sarah, does the application say that the,
I was just actually going back to it. The application says remove old windows and storm windows, install new Anderson 400 series Woodwright replacement windows. So Todd, I'm guessing where you were headed with this was just making sure that they're like for like with the 6/6 or 4/4.
that's correct, yeah.
Which is something that, assuming that this application gets approved, is something we could stipulate in the approval.
Okay,
So I think that's how we could manage that.
all right.
Does anyone have any additional questions for the applicant?
No.
No.
No. All right. All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Actually, you're not, Mr. Where we go? I've lost my place.
Oh,
Health. Thank you. I was going to call you Mr. Siegel, but I knew you weren't the whole. I apologize.
I wish I was, but I'm not.
right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Would anyone in the audience like to speak for this application? Would anyone in the audience like to speak against this application? HDC 20-36 is closed. All right, HDC 20-37, 48 West Main Street, Madeline R. Joy, owner, Bethany Perkins, applicant.
Hi, this is Bethany Perkins, and I am looking to replacing existing signs with a new logo. I'm taking over the Sage Gift Shop, which is the front door there on Pearl Street. So I'm just looking to get the logos and signage approved.
And you're using the same brackets and the sign will be the same size. It's just your picture and your store name will be different, correct?
Exactly.
Do we know what the sign's made out of? Is that in the record?
Right there, Don.
Yes.
Hard shell PVC wrapped edges.
Yeah, okay.
Who's doing your sign, Bethany?
Printing Plus in Westerly.
No change there, Heather.
I like it. Looks good to me.
All right.
All right, I think she has what she needs, right?
Yes, she does. I don't see anything else that she would need additionally. Does anyone have any additional questions for the applicant or comments? No?
No.
All right, thank you, Bethany.
Thank you very much.
Would anyone in the audience like to speak for this application? Would anyone in the audience like to speak against this application? HDC 20-37 is closed. HDC 20-38, 16 Latham Street, Heather and Alex Giannakopoulos, owner applicants.
It's just me.
Okay.
So we have a 25-foot stone wall on our property, and it varies in height. So we wanted to bring it all to one height at 18 inches. So in some places we will be adding rock up to 16 inches, and at some place we won't be adding rock because it's already there at that height. That's some of the loose stone that was from my yard that we'll be using. And that is, oh, that didn't come out right. Keep going. That's a tree. That is the existing wall, and the line above it is where the stone wall will be built. So we're just preserving it and heightening it slightly. That's the largest discrepancy in where it was and where it will be.
And Heather, where is that on the property?
It's on the south side with so if you bring up my GPS, so it borders 20, go down, 12, I'm sorry, not 20, 12. So it runs right along in that little highlighted area. And it's covered by trees on, you can't really see it from Latham Street, but you know, in the winter sometime, you know, I'm sure you can see it a little bit more. That one picture was supposed to be, the whole picture had the view from the street, but for some reason it's that one right there, but you can't even see the lower portion.
Does anyone have any additional questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I have a question. Is the house across the street on Ashby Street or Latham Street?
Ashby.
I was just wondering.
Any other questions?
No, that's not too germane, just an interesting question.
Okay. All right, thank you, Heather.
Mhm.
Would anyone in the audience like to speak for this application? Would anyone in the audience like to speak against this application? HDC 20-38 is closed. HDC 20-39, 29 Gravel Street, Celia Hamid, owner, Robert Mercer, applicant. Oh, I see Bob. Bob?
There we go.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
yes, thank you.
Cool. So this is, I'm back because we modified the original application that we got approved for that garage for the Hamids. Does Linda have images there? Pretty much the same. We added a window on each side of the gable ends. We moved the window on the southeast side from the middle to the far right. And what else? Oh, and it's 30 inches wider. But the lot is extra deep, if you remember that. There's the lot. It's like a quadruple lot. You see number 29 there. And I think I included a site plan. There it is. So we kept the edge closest to the existing house the same and just extended it 30 inches to the west. And that's pretty much it. So.
Thank you. Does anyone have?
This was just the construction drawings and request from the owner. They wanted to put some stairs to storage on the inside, so we added 30 inches to get them the storage. Walk upstairs. There they are.
Does anyone have any additional questions for the applicant?
No.
No.
Nice looking garage, Bob.
Thanks. Too
I
bad
like the window.
nobody will see it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone in the audience like to speak for this application? Would anyone in the audience like to speak against this application? HDC 20-39 is closed. HDC 20-40, 81 High Street, Lori Johnson, owner applicant.
Hello, my name is Lori Johnson. I live at 81 High Street, owner of, and we would like to install a fence between our house and the fence and the house next door on the north side of our property line. It's an Atlas white 66-foot white vinyl scalloped Southport premium privacy fence. It would be about 80 feet in length. There is an existing fence there that's been there for long before we've owned this house, and it's on our neighbor's property and it's in very bad disrepair. Parts of it are missing, parts are leaning over into our garden, and we just like to improve the way things look. And also, we'd both like to get some privacy. I think our neighbors would as well.
What are these photographs of here? Is this what the
So
fence?
there are photographs of the fence that exists there now.
Yeah.
A few. There's a photograph taken from High Street looking at our house and the fence. And there are also some photographs of the fence that we'd like to install that already exists at a few houses within the historic district. So I included those as well. As a matter of fact, that's how I came to really like that fence, because I saw it in a few places and I thought, yeah, that's the fence we want. One of those addresses is on Pequot on the corner of Clift, and the other house is right across the street. It's on Clift. I'm
So
not the
Peter-
best photographer.
Peter, could you go to the site plan so we can see where the fence is? I think it was
No, honey, I can't.
the other way. Oh, well.
They have it, honey. No, they don't.
Listen to me. I'm telling you, that is a stockade fence. They have this document.
I know they do. I provided it to them.
You can tell them you provided property sketch.
So where is the fence on this drawing?
The drawings that I submitted are the plot plans. It's the north side of our property.
Right, so if you're looking at the.
It says stockade fence, I think.
Right, along there.
Along there on this property sketch. So it would be, the fence that they're referring to is actually not on our property. It's just over onto the neighbor's property.
Yeah.
Our fence would be just within our property line. The fence that we'd like to have.
Yeah, I was just trying to orient myself with regards to abutting properties. So
right, it's that. So it's the north side of our property line.
If you're looking at this, that top line is the north line.
Yes.
About. So
yes,
the neighbor is just north of this, the longest line there, which is 85 or something, or that. Or
that's right.
Part of that 80.
That's right.
So if you're coming down, see where it says West Main?
yes.
Her neighbor's house is that little triangular property right before you high in West Main hit. So does the fence go all the way? Can you go down just a little bit? If the fence stop at that angle?
Yeah, so the fence that we would like to put in will not be any longer than the fence that exists now. It's about 80 feet. So where it says stockade fence, and then beyond that it says stone wall. So we're not running that fence any longer than the existing fence.
The existing fence is 3 feet and you're looking for a 6-foot fence?
Yes.
And the existing fence is wood and you're looking for a vinyl fence?
That is right.
Is there a drawing that shows the abutting properties? That's one of them, right? There on the left.
Well, that's
the house to the north, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a house to our north. Yes.
It's that house there that I see.
Yes, it's a sort of Victorian house. Yeah.
So the fence runs perpendicular to High Street, correct?
Correct. It's in extremely bad repair and it's about to be, I mean, a large section of it fell out this winter. And there's another section it's come apart from the post and it's actually leaning into our yard.
Right.
At this point.
So are you going to remove that fence, or your neighbor's going to remove that?
Our neighbor has planned to remove the fence. Yes.
When you put your fence up.
Correct. Yes, we've discussed it with them, and as a matter of fact, I think she was going to call into this meeting. I don't know if she did, but they're well aware of our plan and are all in favor of it.
So Peter, can you scroll up? Just was there a map up there?
There is a GIS map a little bit up. There you go.
All right.
Is there any reason why you chose to bring the 6-foot fence all the way to the High Street side? and not.
Well, there will be a transition. So the last panel as we exit our driveway will not be 6 feet. It'll be 4 feet.
Is that in the application?
It should be, yeah. I provided a rendering of the fence from Atlas Fence Company and the description of it as well.
For the sake
It says, yeah, it says right here, 6 to 4 feet straight end wing section. So that 4 feet that they're referencing in the description is that last panel as you come out of the driveway. That will not be 6 feet. It will be 4 feet.
For the sake of consistency, I actually like the design of your fence. I like the fact that you're tapering it down. I don't like the fact that you're using or you're proposing to use vinyl. It's not something that I, as a member, prefer.
Okay. I mean, I'm new to this process, but there does seem to be quite a few vinyl fences within the historic district. I walk about 6 miles a day, especially these days. And my job right now is looking at fences. So we assumed that would not be an issue. It's a very high quality composite. We've gone to look at it and have seen that fence actually within this neighborhood, the historic district.
Rejected others because of.
I mean, we don't want to be in the situation that we're in now with a fence that is completely disintegrating because it was wood, and the maintenance of it, we're retired. We'd really rather not have to sand and paint a fence frequently to maintain
So
it.
you're aware though, we rejected a vinyl fence 4 weeks ago.
This group has never approved a vinyl fence. Just so you know, it's not the preferred material. And there are some in the district, we haven't approved them. And we still haven't compiled a list of where those are. But seemingly they're a little more tucked away into neighborhoods, it seems. We don't have like a whole list of that as far as I know.
This fence, you're not going to hardly see it at all.
You know, I'm of a somewhat different mind about this vinyl fence issue, which I know has become a sticking point with certain members of the commission. I think that one of the big objections that was raised to the last vinyl fence was that it was a prominent fence, I believe, directly along the road and highly visible. This fence is perpendicular to the high street, and to a large degree, nowhere near as prominent or as exposed as the fence that the commission did not approve a couple weeks ago. So I don't have a problem with this fence. I think the only comment that Eric pointed out is that when you run a 6 foot fence, and I know you're stepping it down the last 4 to 4 feet, but for me, I might step it down 2 panels worth, because a 6 foot fence coming out to the street when it's dividing 2 homes can become a little bit of a visual obstruction and be more exposed and prominent than, say, a 4 foot fence would be. At least that's my opinion.
Okay. So I have a question. I pulled up the GIS map while we were talking, and I'm looking at your property in 89, and it looks like your neighbor that has the fence running along the property also has a fence running along in front of their property.
Yes.
So I mean, I know you can't control your neighbor, but you know,
Right.
You're looking to apply for the way that the fence runs now is it's all connected. So they have this 3 foot picket fence in front of their yard and running perpendicular in between the 2 yards. So now how's it going to look? So they're removing the perpendicular fence you're going to be putting on your property a 6-foot fence with a step down. What is this connecting? What's going to happen with the fluidity?
No, it won't connect. They won't connect because the new fence will be on our property. I have not asked our neighbor what she plans to do with the fence on High Street. I haven't asked her. It's not in, my husband is here.
Yeah, if I may, I asked them about this, and I said, when we spoke about this issue even last year, they said, "Oh, it's a brother and sister who will live in the house," and they said that I'll be taking this down, or we will be taking this fence down. So, but in all fairness, months have gone by and we haven't seen that activity yet.
The front.
They said we're going to take the fence down. So
we don't really know what their plan is for that part of the fence. And it can stand alone without the fence that's bordering our property.
And it is set back a bit from the sidewalk. There's the road, there's the sidewalk, and then there's the setback of the existing front-facing picket fence. And we are moving that back because there's actually there's a monument there, and we're going to be moving that back to make sure that stays in place, the monument.
Right. So in answer to your question, we don't know if they're going to take that part down or not, the front. So what it means by moving, we're not putting it exactly where the existing fence is. We wouldn't put it exactly where the existing fence is because it's not on our property. So we'd be moving it in so that it is actually on our property. That's what he meant about moving it.
And actually moving it away from the road by short dimension.
Can you go down to the picture at the beginning of the driveway where it shows the fence to the right and then where the new fence will go?
Are you talking to me, Heather?
No.
Okay.
So in that image, because your driveway kind of curves.
Yes, it does.
So how are you going to do that?
It doesn't get there.
Well, it doesn't get to that part. You mean where it does get to that part. Yeah, they're going to put that right. They can put it right through the asphalt. Is that what you mean? How are we going to? Yeah, it's not a problem for them. They can install it right through the asphalt.
Diamond cutter, concrete under.
We have an odd situation because we have a flag lot. So you can see how our driveway, and there's just a strip of property on either side of the driveway that's ours. And then there's a big chunk of in front of our house that belongs to the house next door. Not the same one we're talking about. So that's why the driveway curves like that.
And so each panel is 6 feet?
I think it's 8. Is it?
8?
Let's see. 80 linear feet of 6 feet high.
8 feet. Yeah.
8. So go back up again to that same picture. So 2 panels out would be 16 feet into the driveway before you. 1 panel is only 8.
Right.
I guess I'm just still concerned about the use of the vinyl, just considering that the back of your lot is pretty open to Route 1. So when the cars come up, you're going to see a lot of it.
Absolutely not. Actually, I hate to. It's very hard to see the fence and our property line at all from Route 1. You just don't see it. You see the house next door, but you don't see that fence at all.
I agree with that statement. I know the house, and you can look down and see into the driveway pretty well.
You can see the driveway. Yes, you can see the driveway, but you can't see the fence would end before. So let me explain. The house next door is between Route 1 and our house, and that's where the fence will be. The fence isn't going all the way down our driveway. So yeah, part of our driveway is definitely visible from Route 1, but not the part where the fence would be, because our neighbor's house is there.
But isn't the back 75 feet or so all like You were saying that fence is starting at the front and going all the way to the back corner.
No, it's
not.
going 80 feet. All the way to the back would be twice
155 feet.
60 feet,
160 feet.
Yeah, it's just
Something like that.
155.
So it's stopping somewhere at the house.
It's stopping in the same place that the current fence stops, which is, it's actually right.
About 80 feet.
It's not even clearing the back of our neighbor's house, if that makes sense.
All right, so I'll change my statement on that. I still don't like the vinyl fence, but I don't think you're gonna see it from Route 1. I'll agree with you.
This is Rod and Cheryl's house, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, it used to be.
And there's,
Not
yeah,
anymore.
right. I know, but there's a big elevation difference between Route 1 and the backyard of this house. You're down significantly. You're
Yeah,
not gonna see much.
I'm just saying, you're not gonna see it anyways because they're not
from
putting the fence there, so that doesn't even matter.
you really don't. Of course, you especially don't now because of those concrete barriers up there on Route 1 still.
Right.
Which will hopefully be removed someday.
Yeah, someday.
Those were not historic district approved.
Yeah, my point again is that I mean, I'm not so worked up about vinyl fences in general, but I do not see this as a major presence when it's constructed. You know, I still would like to see it step down more than 8 feet, maybe to 16 at the street side. But other than that, I don't have an issue with it. And I think it's a good looking fence.
I love the look. If you'd done it in wood, I wouldn't have any issue.
Yeah, wood probably isn't going to be an option for us. We just can't afford it. And I mean, what's there now will probably stay there if this fence, because I don't think our neighbor would necessarily take it down. It'll essentially fall down and there will be no fence. And you know, the problem is that her yard is creeping into my yard. The vegetation.
Look, I don't disagree with you at all with the need for the fence. I don't disagree with taking down the neighbor's fence. I agree with Todd that it'd be better to step it back a little farther, and I think it's great it's not going all the way to the back of the property. You're not going to get me on the vinyl. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Does anyone have any other questions or comments for the applicant?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Would anyone in the audience like to speak for this application? Would anyone in the audience like to speak against this application? HDC 20-40 is closed. HDC 20-41, 17 West Main Street, Steamboat Wharf Condominium Association. Miss Bergatino. Is she here? I don't see anybody in the audience. There's a guest too. And there's a phone number, there's a call in. Is there a way to tell if that's?
The call-in could possibly be the neighbor.
Figuring it out. Why doesn't it let me shut her fucking mouth? Somebody use the fucking.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can. We just called the application for HDC 20-41. Would that be you?
Yes, I've heard the whole. No, what address?
Steamboat Wharf.
17 West Main Street, Steamboat Wharf.
No, I'm at 89 High Street. I'm in relation to the previous case that you just talked about. However, I could not, I spoke and no one heard me until now.
Okay.
So it's about the fence between 81 High Street and 89 High Street. The latter is my property.
Okay, well, hold on one moment because we just closed that application. So, you know,
right, and I was trying to speak multiple times and you guys couldn't hear me.
Hold on.
Yep.
So it would be my suggestion that we reopen it to public comments since she didn't have the opportunity to comment.
Sarah,
Yes.
she may wish to comment on that particular application. However, I believe she's calling in to talk about the demolition
she can-
of her fence.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're saying she can comment if we reopen, but that she may be coming in for like a pre-hearing?
Correct.
Okay.
Or at least to find out if she needs an application to take down the fence.
Okay. So for the owner of 89 High Street, were you looking to comment on the 81 High Street application, or were you looking to discuss your own?
Well, yeah, I would, both.
Okay. All right. So Linda and Peter, is it all right if I reopen?
Yeah, take a motion, just take a vote to.
I move to reopen.
There we go.
Second,
D.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Linda, that was all of us rather than do a roll call. All right, so HDC 20-40 is reopened. The owner of 89 High Street may make public comments.
Okay, I heard everything you said, but you couldn't hear me at the time. I want to be able to see what this fence is going to look like. I don't know if it's a solid fence or a picket fence. I haven't got a clue what it looks like. So I think that I would like to be able to see what it looks like. I could not be there in person tonight to see what it looks like. Linda Galetta has my email, and she could send me a picture of it by email if she would.
She can. Unfortunately.
Well, am I allowed? Huh?
So I was going to say she can. Unfortunately, it will vote on this tonight. So, if there's comments that you want to make, I know you can't see what it looks like. I'm not quite sure how to solve this problem.
They're going to vote on it tonight.
Well, I don't know either. I mean, I would like to see what it looks like. I mean, I'm going to be the one, you're talking about the road, seeing it from the road. The main person's going to look at this fence is me.
Technological issue.
Right.
And remember, now I want to make a comment about the thing. My brother apparently said he was going to take the fence down last year, but he didn't. I've worked abroad for many years. I've been in and out. This is my legal address, but I haven't been living here year round. But I agreed with these neighbors that we're going to take down the fence. So the main reason I'm joining this meeting was to apply for permission to take down the fence on the side. I have no intention of taking down the fence on the front, but I'm asking for permission to take down the fence on the side, and they say they're going to erect their fence. However, I would like to know what their fence is going to look like, because it is going to be a lot taller than my fence. My fence is like, what, 4 feet high? 3 feet high?
No,
so it's only 3 feet high, and so this fence is going to be much higher. I can't even imagine what it's going to look like. But anyway, so it's two different issues. The first one is they applied to put up a fence, and they asked me to apply to take down my fence. And as I understand it, if they're putting their fence on their land, then I don't really have to take down my fence. However, I want to take down my fence because it is falling down. And I plan to take down my fence if you will give me permission to do so. But in regards to their case, I really would like to know what their fence is going to look like.
We haven't had that come up yet.
Right.
Well, this has been on the town webpage though, the whole document, all these documents. So the package the package has been on the town webpage for people to look at.
What are they talking about?
I'm sorry?
So the package, all the pictures of the fence has been available on the town webpage for the public to look at. So if you have access to the internet, you can look at the pictures of the fence right now, as a matter of fact.
Well, say, as far as you're concerned, this just started.
Well, okay. Can you bring it up?
No, we don't have Wi-Fi.
We don't have Wi-Fi where we are right now. Does this have Wi-Fi?
Yeah, but I can't pull it.
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to get off the phone, off this call in order to look at it.
Okay, so procedurally, this application has been submitted. And
Sorry?
so procedurally, this application has been submitted and the applicants have requested, your neighbors, that we vote on it this evening. You know, I'm sorry you can't see what it looks like, but I don't really know how to solve that problem for you.
Well, we could tell her that, you know, just verbally that it's going to be a 6-foot fence and it's going to be solid.
Except the top.
Partially solid.
The top has a
It's
scallop.
solid to about 5 feet, and then it's got scalloped pickets. That
And
we
what?
actually discussed about this, by the way,
Well,
the height.
it's not solid for 6 feet. At the top, it's almost like a lattice, it looks like, and it's scalloped.
So it dips down. Each panel dips down into the
So,
center by something.
yeah. The solid part at the bottom would provide the privacy. That's why it's called a privacy fence.
And that's about 5 feet.
And that's about 5 feet. The top of it
The
is not
dimensions
solid.
should be in there though already.
Yeah, they are. But she doesn't have them.
I don't know what to say.
So you can't really say, what they're telling you is you can't really say anything about the fence because they're going to vote on it tonight. But your neighbor jumped the gun and didn't let you know how far along this actually was.
Excuse me?
Excuse?
The neighbor, we just started discussing this a couple of weeks ago, and it was apparent that they've done much more, submitted much more and went ahead with this without her realizing how far they have gone. So she had no idea that they had already submitted something in pictures and then there was anything ever to look at.
Or even to, I didn't know I was supposed to look.
Yeah,
at
that she was, all she was told, asked by them is if she could submit something to the town to remove her fence.
My husband spoke with her for an hour and a half. Yes, 2 weeks ago. And we said we were submitting it to the Historic
For this night.
Commission. And we had an appointment to discuss it. We honestly are not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. And honestly, our putting a new fence on our property will prevent you from having to have the expense of replacing the fence that's falling apart.
And I remember
Well, that's
Cynthia
not real. That's
specifically,
not-
you said that you were excited about having some privacy fence. And I went through and I said, it's 6 feet high, but it drops down to 5 for the solid piece. And then there's the,
I did not realize. Thought that it was 6 feet high picket fence.
Let me jump in for a second. So you filed the application properly. Notice was given and the information was put online. So your application is fine to be voted on tonight.
Okay.
It sounds like you have a couple issues. You have a neighbor issue and you also may have some issues relating to the material. You can let it go to vote tonight. You're allowed to do that. You've done what you're supposed to do correctly. Or you may want to continue it for 2 weeks to resolve potentially both these issues. If you're not in a huge rush, I would maybe suggest, in my opinion, that you let it go for 2 weeks and resolve potentially both of those.
by then we have people lined up as well.
Well, I mean, you can certainly let it go to a vote. Eric was just trying to.
Right. I mean,
What's the harm in that? I mean,
then we just have to resubmit. In other words, we'd have to file the documentation all over again.
The harm would be if we vote no, it's a 1 year. What is it?
Well, we can vote if it was voted no, it could be they can bring the application again. I just don't think that they can bring the exact one.
So there would be no point in bringing the exact one if you're going to vote no on the material. So we would just have to decide whether, if you vote no on it based on the material, if we're willing to absorb considerable more expense to have a wood fence.
no,
And honestly,
that's not going to happen.
I don't see us doing that. I think there's a limit to how much we want to spend on the fence. And
But if you continue it for 2 weeks, you don't have to resubmit your materials. The materials are already in the record. You just have
true,
to,
but what's the point if you're just going to say, do you know what I mean?
well, it'd be a matter of you dealing with your next door neighbor. And if you want to smooth things out with her, before it goes to a final vote, or if you just want to take your shot today.
Does someone have the regs in front of them? Am I correct on that with what they can resubmit and what they can't resubmit? I don't have them in front of me.
I thought it was a year, Linda.
I don't have the regs in front of me. What my understanding is that they can resubmit something that is substantially different, but they can't resubmit the same thing if it's not approved for a year.
Okay.
You know what, and without aggravating the situation further, I don't think there's going to be any way to come to
I don't know that. Do you?
the situation with the neighbor could not, it potentially may not be redeemable.
The gentleman said very succinctly, there's two problems. One, it's a neighbor issue, and two, it is a material issue. Now,
I would also, if you wanted to wait the 2 weeks, I would encourage you to look at the price differences between the both materials and just.
Well, we already did. So that's why we ended up with the final. It was shocking, the difference.
Yeah.
So we're talking about 3 times the difference, 3 to 4 times. So
Then I would encourage you to maybe look at some other fence provider. Excuse me.
We did that too.
I mean, we got multiple estimates, and this was the best looking fence. And so the fence that's there we were told by Craig, who is Cynthia's brother, that the man who built our house put that fence up, and it's only been up since the house has been here. It was built in
2003 or 4?
2003. So that fence is less than 20 years old, and it's literally falling apart, as you can see from the photographs.
I understand all that. So do you want to move forward with your application, or do you want us to continue your application?
I don't see the need to put it off for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So, all right, so be it.
So does anyone in the audience want to speak for or against this application or add any further comments? Okay. HDC 20-40 is closed.
Thank you.
Thank you. We were on HDC 20-41, 17 West Main Street, Steamboat Wharf condominium. I don't believe there's a guest too, but I don't believe that that's that particular person. No? All right, I'll circle back with that one at the end. HDC 20-42, 46 West Main Street, Roach 46 LLC.
Hi.
Hi there.
Okay. So there are 3 parts to this application. It's the, we'd like to redo all the signs. Obviously, it's no longer Bartleby's, and it'll become Young Buns. So I have those. And then we also have a hood that we would like to install and a takeout window that is it's on West Main Street, but it's not on, the window itself doesn't face West Main Street. I can show you pictures of it. So I guess we can start with the 3 signs. That might be easiest.
Marissa, can you hold on 1 second? Peter, can you mute any attendees that are not speaking currently?
Hang on a second. Go through.
But that has nothing to do with me, right? It doesn't. I think we're trying to give it a chance.
Stop. It's us. It's us.
It really has nothing to do with what's the number?
Yeah, it's attendee. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Sorry, Marissa.
No, it's okay. So again, just 3 signs, all on the outside. They will be the exact same size as the ones that are already existing there. The only difference will be the sign that's in the front, the hanging sign, that's perpendicular to the building will go from like being longer horizontally to being from being taller to being just wider.
Right.
But so unfortunately on this, that was what we had originally wanted to do, but it's not what it is. Sorry, there's a lot of floor plans in here. So, yep, here they are. So the one on the left will be the one that's hanging in the front. And then the two on the right will be the ones on the sides. So I had very poorly photoshopped them onto the buildings if you scroll down so you can see them. Yep. So that's the first one. So again, it's just going from taller to wider, but it's the same exact dimensions. And then here are the other two that are on the side of the building. I tried to get them as close to the size to just cover like the original ones, but they're not exactly to scale. But they are very big signs. So they look big because they are big. And then you can do the takeout window or the hood next, whichever is easiest. I don't know which one comes. The takeout window, I guess it's right here. So this is on West Main Street, but it's perpendicular to it. And so there's a door right here. None of the tenants upstairs have access to that door. It's an emergency exit. So there's no worry about people coming in and out of it. No one has access to it except for us. And then we had measured the footage of the sidewalk, and there is enough feet to have people walking by and have a line in that area if we are allowed to do the takeout window. And then the hood.
Wait a minute, stop, go back to the window. Did you submit the dimensions and the materials for the window?
So I don't have the dimensions and the material of the window because we're still looking for a window. We just wanted to get the process of having a takeout window approved.
So, well, we wouldn't approve the takeout window. We'll approve the aesthetics of it. So that would
Okay.
happen in this application. We won't vote on that.
Okay.
We can't vote on the.
Okay.
It's a window. We're not voting if she can do it or not, but we can vote on if.
She's saying she doesn't really know exactly what the window's gonna look like.
Yeah, but so we can't do it today.
Right. We can vote on the signs and everything else. She's gonna have to come back for the window.
Okay.
In all forms, though, we can't like just say the window's good. We have to actually approve a window.
Okay. Okay. And
So
then
you're really it's the signs and the hood.
Sure.
But the signs, do we have the dimensions of the signs?
Yep, they're all in there.
I think they're in the front of the
I
application.
see, okay.
In there, I also wrote them in the application as well. So they're all there.
So I think I missed the hood because I was looking at a different part of it.
So if you actually scroll down, I can show you where it will. So if you stop on this one, the blank space, yep. So that's what it will look like, but you can't see it from the road. The only thing you can see from the road will be the exhaust fan at the top. This, yep. But if you go up one more, and you see like this blank space, like that's what you see from the road because it's just the building.
I don't know.
Hypothetically, you can see it from the apartment across the street or something, right? You're just saying you can't see it because of the angle?
You just can't see it because it's just a flat, flush building all the way up. And there's stairs behind it that go up. So the hood, like everything that's in that little box is like tucked between the buildings.
We went over this last time, I think. That space right there, that's actually a wall. And
yeah, it's a full
behind
wall.
it. So we can just see the top of the exhaust fan because everything else is behind that wall. They just put it here for exemplary purposes.
Yep.
I just want to comment on this whole hood thing. Again, I think these are downtown restaurant buildings or whatever. And granted, they didn't have hoods like this back in 1880s, but historically, with the Historic District Commission, even our predecessors and everything else, there has never been a very big deal made about the visibility in some cases of hoods because it's a matter of practicality and necessity. So I'm not overly concerned about being able to see a hood just because I wouldn't have seen one in 1850.
I'm not terribly concerned about seeing the hoods. I just want to make sure that the application reflects it correctly.
Right, okay, well, I'm just making an editorial comment, okay?
Yeah, and then I guess the other point is if there is an opportunity to shield it in some other applications that we've helped create creative ways of doing so, it doesn't hurt to do that if it's possible.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree with that, but this is a slippery slope we're going down, and I have my misgivings about it. So I'm just saying that.
I don't necessarily think that you can really see it from, I mean, unless you're looking out the window and you live in that property, I really don't think you can see it unless you're on the roof of the other buildings.
My point is that you've got a hood going up the side of Rise that's totally visible, and no one is screaming bloody murder about it. And
yeah,
nor were they screaming about Adam's original hood, which was totally exposed at the back. I mean, in other words, I'm just saying where I stand on this. If you can possibly screen it, fine, but I'm not going to get all hung up on this as a matter of principle because it's 2020, not 1850.
Okay. So we have the signs, we have the hood, and we have the carryout window, which is not going to be part of this application because you don't have that information. Is there anything else?
Nope, that would be it for today then.
All right. Does anyone have any questions or comments for the applicant?
Nope.
No. All right. Would anyone in the audience like to speak for this application? Would anyone in the audience like to speak against this application? HDC 20-42 is closed. I'm going to go back to HDC 20-41 and see if 17 West Main Street Steamboat Wharf Condominium Association joined us. No? Linda, do you know who that is?
So her name is Pam Bergantino, I believe, and I believe she's the manager.
Oh, it's for Spencer. Okay.
Of Spencer and Lynn, and I don't know that she's located in Mystic, actually.
Okay.
I thought that I sent her all the info, and I thought that she was going to join the meeting to present the application. So I haven't heard otherwise.
Peter, is the size or material in there at all? No. So I was just thinking we could have voted on it like that chimney where everything was there, but here they don't. So they've got to come back with more info so we can continue it.
Well, yeah, and we need to, myself or Linda probably needs to, and this is my fault because I didn't look at their application prior, needs to reach out to them, tell them that's essentially an incomplete application anyhow. So, all right. All right, so I'm going to close the public hearings and we will move to deliberations. So just for the audience, so you know, only the commission members and staff can speak during this time. All right, so.
And if you, just one thing, if when you do the voting, just make it very clear who's recusing, because there's a couple of properties where recuses, it wasn't clear during the public hearings. So that would be great. Thank you.
All right, HDC 20-15, 54 West Main Street, BAT 26 Realty. This is the mortgage movement sign, which I move to continue.
Second.
Have to do a roll call. Moriarty, what?
I'm sorry, did you say earlier we couldn't continue this because of the time?
No, Linda suggested that I asked if we needed to continue it because we've already continued it out for so long, and Linda had said that we should still continue to.
Got it. Okay, sorry about that.
Moriarty, aye. Giannakopoulos,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Levinson,
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
All right, the application is continued. HDC 20-25, 56 West Main Street. This was the walk-in cooler. This was also requested to be continued, so I move to continue.
Second.
All in favor, Moriarty, aye. Giannakopoulos,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Levinson,
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
The application is continued. HDC 20-33, 5 Water Street, Sift Real Estate. This one, they also requested that we can actually, is this continued or are they doing a whole new application?
I think they're doing it.
It's a new application.
This will be a new application. So they can't amend
incomplete.
what they have. So what are our options here? Is there something?
If it's incomplete,
Well,
it
it's
never.
incomplete. It's not.
Should ask them to withdraw. Should have to withdraw it.
Right. All right. So that's what we'll do. So there's no vote on this.
Right.
Correct.
No vote.
Okay.
Okay.
HDC, sorry, I need my classes. HDC 20-34, 8 High Street, 810 High Street. This was the condensers and the line sets.
I'll move to approve.
Well, second.
Are there any comments on this particular application? No. All in favor? Moriarty, aye. Giannakopoulos,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Levinson.
I got it. The only thing is, can we make it clear to them that we're not requiring them to do any fencing or anything beyond what they just initially approved?
Well, we haven't told them they have.
Yeah, they have it.
Right.
They know, they're only getting approved for the condensers.
What they requested.
And the
So if
line.
they want to do fencing,
And the
they would
lines.
have to come back.
Yeah. Okay. Aye then.
Goodman.
Aye.
The application's approved. HDC 20-35, 9 Elm Street. This was the application for the condenser that, from my perspective, required additional information. So I believe the applicant had requested that we continue. This was Cody Blake. So I move to continue.
Second.
All in favor, Moriarty, aye. Giannakopoulos,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Levinson,
Aye.
Goodman. The application is, sorry, did you say anything, Eric?
No, I was just gonna say, I would recuse myself on this, but can I can vote to continue it, right? It doesn't matter.
Yes, from my perspective, yes.
Aye, yeah.
All right, the application is continued. HDC 20-36, 6 Park Place, Mr. and Mr. Siegel, owners. This was the replacement windows for the entire house, where they were replacing it like for like with the Anderson full divided light, if I recollect correctly, windows.
I would move to approve this with the condition that the requirement that the windows that are being replaced be replaced with light windows, because it is not in the application.
Okay. I second that. Are there any comments? No. All right. Moriarty, aye. Giannakopoulos,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Levinson,
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
The application is approved. HDC 20-37, 48 West Main Street, Madeline R. Joy, owner, Bethany Perkins, applicant. This was the signage for the bee's knees, replacing where Sage was. Any motions?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Are there any comments on this application? No. All right, all in favor, Moriarty, aye. Giannakopoulos,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Levinson,
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
The application is approved. HDC 20-38, 16 Latham Street, Heather and Alex Giannakopoulos, owner applicants. This was the stone wall,
I recuse myself.
right? Any motions?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Any comments? My only
Good
comment-
luck lifting the stones.
Right.
I'm not doing it.
All right, all in favor, Moriarty, aye. Brady,
Aye.
Levinson,
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
The application is approved. HDC 20-39, 29 Gravel Street, Celia Hamid owner, applicant Robert Mercer. This was modifications to the already approved garage where they were extending the 30 inches and moving the window over a little bit. Any motions? I move to approve.
I'll second.
Any comments? All in favor? Moriarty, aye.
Sorry,
I'm
I
sorry.
would just make one comment just because of
Sure.
in light of what's been going on. I think that this kind of change to the application is fine because the massing relative to the property doesn't significantly change what they're trying to do. So I think that because it was approved and the change that they've requested is minor enough that it's still in light with what was proposed originally.
Right, that's a valid point. It's a very deep lot, so making it slightly larger was fine, and hardly anybody can see it.
And particularly wider as not opposed to taller. Though it could still in other areas be different.
Okay. I forgot where I left off.
You
Call the roll away.
were doing a roll.
Right. All in favor, Moriarty, aye. Giannakopoulos,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Levinson,
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
The application is approved. HDC 20-40, 81 High Street, Lori Johnson, owner applicant, install fence. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the application with the requirement that the first 16 feet or the first two sections closest to the street be reduced in height to 4 feet.
Comments?
Just clarify, did you say first few? I think we have to,
First, well, 16 feet or the first two sections closest to the street, to High Street. And the current application has the first section at 4 feet and not the second. So I'm making a motion to approve it with a requirement that the first two sections closest to High Street be reduced in height to 4 feet.
4 feet. Okay. Are there any comments?
we gotta have a second.
Oh, okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Concerned with the fact that we've just disapproved the use of a vinyl fence. And now we're voting on the second one in relatively the same form, except that I do think that this design is significantly better. And I'm less concerned because it's not going to be extending to the entire property line. But I still feel that it's not something that we've historically done, and I personally don't like it.
So I'm just going to jump back, Eric. Don, did you second the motion?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
The motion as submitted.
Yes. I personally agree with Eric. I don't think that a 6-foot shiny fence in the middle of the historic district is necessarily appropriate. I also have concerns that the neighbor has concerns. And further, it would have been better to have the neighbor's application in at the same time, because the last thing that I would want to see is these two fences meshed up against one another. So we don't necessarily know if the neighbor's fence is going to come down. And now we have these potentially two fences, which wouldn't look at all very good. But I do have the same concern, although I like the design of the fence, the shininess of it.
Well, do you have the authority to continue?
I don't believe so, because they asked us to go to vote. So those are my comments. Does anyone else have any comments before we do a roll?
think that's a good
I
point.
think that I know that this issue came up before with regard to precedent, but I think that there obviously had been a number of vinyl fences approved in the historic district. The fact that they weren't approved by the members of this commission does not make them any less precedential. So I think that, you know, no more than the Supreme Court's adherence to precedent. So I think that the fact that we haven't approved a vinyl fence, and I'm not sure, and in fact, I think we have, but maybe not with every member that's sitting here now. So we can, I think that the issue that I focused on at the last meeting when we voted down the fence was the extremely visible presence of that fence running along the property line and along the street. So I think that there are differences amongst these various applications. And I certainly don't think that we are bound by a precedent because we disapproved the last vinyl fence, given that there have been a number approved beforehand.
So I don't think it's precedental. When I ever comment on it, it's because when people are saying, well, there's other ones in the neighborhood. The reason I would comment that we hadn't approved those is not because of precedent, is because it's just the reality of who you're looking at on this panel. It's not.
Also,
Go ahead.
sorry,
Well,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
I think the thing is, I mean, we don't have to follow precedent as long as we have some reasonable basis for in the record for why we're changing our view. I mean, it's not who the panelists are. The commission is the commission. So, I mean, but we've had articulated there is a difference between a perpendicular fence that's hardly viewable versus one that's around the whole lot and very prominent. So there is a reasonable basis to distinguish between the two cases.
I agree.
And I agree. I just am concerned that you have the Mystic River Historical Society diagonally across the street looking at it. You have the house next door that they clearly put a lot of effort into their cupola and what they did. You know, it's not as visible as the other one. I would agree with that. The design is a lot better, but I think the use of that material directly in the middle of where it is just not appropriate.
Any other comments? No?
I just don't, I'm not, I'll comment my last thoughts is I am not a fan of the vinyl, but as Todd suggested, I think there are exceptions for small places tucked more into properties. That's just me.
I would agree with that.
I agree too with that.
Any other comments before I do a roll call? No? All right. Moriarty, no. Giannakopoulos,
Yes.
Brady,
Yes.
Levinson,
Yes.
Goodman.
No.
The application is approved. All right. With the stipulation of the 16-foot step down. HDC, I'm sorry, I lost my place. HDC 20-41, this is 17 West Main Street, Steamboat Wharf Condominium. This was the sign for Spencer and Lynn. I move to continue that application.
One second.
All right, all in favor, Moriarty, aye. Giannakopoulos,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Levinson,
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
All right, the application is continued. HDC 20-42, 46 West Main Street, Roach 46 LLC. Applicant Adam Young. This was the application for the signage, the windows, and the exhaust hood. Any motions?
Everything looks to scale.
I'm sorry,
Motions, I'll motion to approve.
but not
Not the
No.
window.
not the window.
The takeout window. Motion to approve the signs and the exhaust.
I second. Any comments? All right, all in favor, Moriarty? Aye. Janikopoulos?
Aye.
Brady?
Aye.
Levinson?
Aye.
Goodman?
I'm going to just recuse myself from this one.
Okay. The application is approved.
Okay, I just gonna make a comment to the applicant that with regard to this is prospective, but with regard to the takeout window, the takeout window is shown, I think, is potentially problematic, and they should take that into consideration because it really doesn't look. It doesn't look like a typical window that you might have found. You know, you can do a takeout window with a double hung window for that matter, and it can work just effectively. So something to think about. That looked like it was like a double passage hung on both sides, pivoting window. And I'm not quite sure how you're going to make that look very historic or appropriate right on the front of the building, even though it's on the side of the front.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't look like a Dunkin' Donuts takeout window.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, Eric. Sort of does.
I was going to say the same thing.
Slider. It wasn't a slider. It looked like it was hinged, but kind of like a set of passage doors, double passage doors or something.
Okay.
So maybe if she's still listening, she heard the comment.
She might be. I didn't look in the attendees.
I mean, you could do a split double hung window that closes almost like a double casement or like French doors like that, but in a more historic fashion.
Yeah.
Versus what you've got here.
Yeah, those look like metal windows or something.
All right. So we're done with public hearings, moving on to.
No, we have to vote. I don't think we voted on these, did we?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
Did we?
Yeah, we did. We voted on it. I made my comment after the vote.
Oh, okay, all right. It's getting late,
It's getting dark, I see. It's getting dark.
All right, pre-application hearings. So I moved over to our attendees. We have Bethany Perkins, who I believe was the bee's knees. Is she here for anything else?
She's muted.
Do you have to move them over, Peter?
You're muted.
I'm asking them to unmute, but I've asked her to unmute, so I don't know.
All right, how about Bob? Are you here for something else?
And they may have just walked away from their computers.
Me?
Hi, Bob.
Yeah, there you are.
I'm just fascinated by the meeting and loving to hear all the comments and got nothing else to do, just scrolling.
Okay.
Playing words with friends. Yeah. You guys are doing a great job, by the way. I appreciate all you do and your great comments. So
thank you.
You can unmute me or mute me.
Bethany, were you here for pre-app?
No, he's just hanging around listening.
No, I was asking Bethany because she got moved over, or it looks like she did. No.
I'm trying to get her, bumped her over to panelists, see if that helps.
Bethany? Oh, well, maybe she's just watching too. Eric, design build.
Oh, hang on a second. Hang on one second. There we go.
Eric, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Eric Kudlis from Eric's Design Build Associates, Inc. We've been in the design and building industry in Connecticut, in Eastern Connecticut in particular, for 30 years. And I'm saying this because I don't know everyone on the commission anymore from the last time I was here. So just to explain who I am. And we've been nominated as Builder of the Year 3 times, and we've been written up in Connecticut Builder magazine and The Day. And I was asked to come in to oversee a project for Mr. Hardesty on 14 Rachel Place. And the last time I came before the commission, it was in regard to that particular property. And we came before the commission several times, and the commission had some very good ideas, very positive ideas, most of which we actually ended up incorporating into the project, and it came out really nice. And now there's some issues with the structure that's been put in place there, and I've been asked to come in and oversee it and basically try to work with the commission to straighten it out. This just happened a few days ago, so I took a look at what was proposed as plans and what the denial was on it. And the first thing I noticed was that it's similar to a situation that we run into a lot down in Groton Long Point. If Seamus was here, he could attest to that. That in Groton Long Point, for example, we have flat lots, many of them small lots, smaller than Mr. Hardesty's. And some of the structures there, because of the height requirements for the flood elevations, end up being 3 stories tall. And so we have to, from a design perspective, we have to try to work to minimize the mass and the way it appears, so it's just not the towering thing. And we have some design formulas that we follow. We try to break up the facade a little bit. We try to work with the roof lines, because one of the things they don't want is a lot of flat roofs there that meet the height restrictions but don't have very much architectural interest or appeal. So lots of times we'll modify the roof designs. We'll put in like faux roofs, or we'll change the roof lines so the roof lines don't appear as high as they actually are in the building. And so we've dealt with that, a number of times in that area. And then the other thing I was thinking about was, the Bible book on real estate, and that's location, location, location. And I was in my recent trips through downtown Mystic, every time I go through, I appreciate the work that's been done on the buildings that were torn down, and how that seemed to integrate quite well. And I'm sure the commission had a lot of input into that rebuilding. And it seems to me to be a really good job that was done there. And that's important, because Mystic, as we all know, gets a lot of business from the tourist industry, and people congregate downtown Mystic and those area streets around there. And I suspect there's probably 50,000 cars that come by on a typical weekend, and I don't know how many people are there sightseeing and eating ice cream, drinking coffee, taking pictures. And so those areas are really significant areas. And I think the things that have been done in that general area, the downtown area, are really typically well done, and with good input from the Historical District Commission. Fort Rachel Place is a cute little side street down by the Fort Rachel Marina. It's not a very long street, and there's maybe, I don't know, 8-9 houses on it. And Mr. Hardesty's is currently, when I worked there previously, it was the last house on the street, and now there's a small cape that's next to it. One of the things, or some of the things I noticed about Mr. Hardesty's property is in the back of the property, there's a sheer ledge of about 50 feet in height, and any homes that are built to the back of that cannot see his home or the garage that's been built. And so no one can see it from the back. Across the street, there's a mound, a high mound. I guess it used to be maybe an observation post over the harbor, and it's unbuilt. I don't know if it can even be built on, frankly. And so there's nobody across the street, and there's nobody that looks at the house, and probably never will be. And there's nobody in back who can see the house or the property. And about 100 feet down the road is where the boat yard is, and probably, I don't even know if it's 100 feet, but let's call it 100 feet.
We're familiar. We know where it is.
And that's where there's a lot of boats. There's no water view there, but there's boats. The road in front of Mr. Hardesty's property is 12 feet wide, and I think it's pretty tough for 2 cars to pass there. It doesn't seem to be a sightseeing mecca. I don't think when I worked there on previous assignments there, I recall days when I don't think there'd be but 1 or 2 cars that would drive by his house, and none of them seemed interested in his house, but more interested in getting down to their boat to sink more money into the bottomless pit. And so there's not really a lot of traffic there. I've never seen anybody pull a boat up the street. Maybe they have, but I think the authority of the commission probably has more flexibility in view of the location. And I'd ask that the commission take that into consideration. We have submitted, I gave him some first impressions about bringing the roof line down, so it's not a 2-story mass facing the road. I think Mr. Falco or Mr. Hardesty sent in a drawing of what that might look like. I had some other thoughts about it, but in a pre-application, I'm asking the commission for positive suggestions that we can make to have the building be less imposing. And I think the roof line is definitely one of them. I suggested quickly just running rabbit runs down the front facade to make it look like a cape with dormers more than a 2-story structure. And thinking about it more in the last couple of days, I thought maybe we'd bring the eyebrow straight across the front to break up that whole facade some more. Those are the thoughts I had, and I had asked the commission for its thoughts. It's a position the commission probably never wanted, and I don't think Mr. Hardesty or the builder ever wanted. It's a mess, and I'm hoping to work with the commission to gain some favor and some instruction and some direction as to how to make it less imposing, and to see if we can work it out in considering the location that the house is in.
So are you looking for guidance as to what to submit? Or I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I think there's been a modified plan that was submitted. Do you have that plan before you, or is it?
Peter, is that something you have?
I thought it was submitted.
You're muted, Peter.
Peter.
I was gonna say, Wayne withdrew the other day. I believe Linda, did he send in an email saying that he was withdrawing?
Well, yes, that's correct.
So Eric, I don't think that we received the modifications that you submitted.
He didn't send in the plan showing some of the suggestions I had made.
Just the ones he showed last meeting, when he said had those.
I don't know what was this the one with the lowered roof line?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, there's the problem right there. Maybe the best thing for me to do is to redraw the plans myself, or submit the plans that were changed, and then gain the commission's recommendations.
Yeah, because we haven't seen them, so we can't really comment on them. So I think that would probably be the best approach.
Understood. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
I just, I don't know what our policy, but it needs, is it possible for him to submit like kind of as a pre-hearing alternative plans? Or does
I
it
think
have to be-
that's what we were talking, like a prelim plan, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, I thought he had. I was under the impression he had. And basically his role in the construction was going to be limited because I was going to oversee the project from this point on and try to make sure it was satisfactory to the commission members. So I will see that that's done, sir.
I think you need to come up with a couple solutions, or one, it's up to you, but to try to take into consideration what was said at the last several meetings in the application that Wayne submitted and the comments or pre-application that was last week. I don't remember the timing, but I think we've made pretty clear what we're looking for. So, using that as guidance.
Yeah, that's understood. That's understood, and I'll see that we get another set of drawings in for your comment.
Probably grab a copy of the minutes from the last couple of meetings, and then you can use that to kind of review.
Okay, will do. Is that something that I can get from Ms. Galetta? Who would I get those from?
They're actually online. They're all on the website.
Oh, great. Okay, thank you.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, Eric.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right,
Yep,
Jay
bye
Del
now.
Grosso. Can you hear us, Jay?
You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for hearing me.
So you have a pre-application?
I do. I
Okay,
had an opportunity to speak with Ms. Galetta, and I put in the pre-application with photos of what I'm looking to do with the stone wall.
So do you have those, Peter?
No.
I emailed them to you also, sir. And then I received an email from Ms. Galetta inviting me to this this meeting tonight for the pre-application.
It's the wall on High Street, Pete. Do you remember that one?
Yes, ma'am, that's it.
Let me take a look and see if I can find it.
I don't know where the pictures are.
Do you know what day you sent the email, Jay? That might help them look for it.
Yes, ma'am. Let me see. I got the original one here. In the email are all the pictures. In the application, I completed the application. I put an attachment that explained the project and put all the photographs in it. Give me 1 second. It's a long wait to know they don't have my application. God bless you guys.
True.
Long night.
What's your email, Jay?
It's del137@comcast.net. And I received your email last Thursday, and I sent you. Bear with me a second.
There we go. Hang on a second. Here we go. Let me see what I got here. 291, 293 High Street, Mystic.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay, here we go. Got something there. All right. Let's see if I can pull this up. Hang on, bear with me. Can you see that?
Yep, that's it.
Let me know when you want me to scroll it down.
I'm good when everyone else is.
I'm good.
Those pictures right there are of a house down the road, and I just want to copy that type of wall in front of my house. So I don't have a clean look in front of my house on either side. either of the houses that are next to each other.
Okay, can you keep scrolling?
And that's the, if you look at that right there, that's 291 on the left, and on the right is 293. And if you look to the picture to the left, there's just nothing there at all. And you have the, you know, if a UPS truck comes or someone's going to work on the pole or something, they dig into that hill all the time, and you're trying to keep that back. And if you look to the picture to the right, there is it's just another slope, but it's set back further. And it's just over the years, just kind of has fallen down. And I'm just trying to make the two, to make it clean in front of the house, both of them. I was originally, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Jay.
I just wanted to, it needs to have been done for a long time. And it's just, it's very sloppy. It needs to look nicer.
So on either side of the staircase to the street, you're looking to build a stone wall?
Yes, ma'am. And the one to the right, there is if you go scroll down one more, please. So if you see to the picture to the right, that's the adjoining property that already has the stone wall.
Okay.
I'm just looking to continue that one across. I don't know what happened well before when they did street work and when they've done anything. That hill, you can tell people over the years have dumped things on the hill, and there's just the granite pieces there. I just put those there to kind of keep it up. It's not even really, it's not going anywhere, but just to kind of make it look clean a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Are there any more photos, Peter? Okay.
So if you look this up there on the top of that right there is just, it looks like over the years, I don't know if that's part of another stone wall or people just kind of pile that there for a look. It's really not organized. There's nothing organized about any of it. And the granite pieces in the bottom, I just laid those there kind of to allow me to, you know, when you use the weed whacker and everything, it just kind of cleans it up a little bit.
So are you planning to build are you going to cut the wall into the slope so that the backside of the wall is at the same grade as the grass as it comes down?
Yes, sir. So if you look at that picture right there in the front,
yeah,
it's a very small slope right there. Mm-hmm. I'm just looking to take that away and build the wall right there. And then I'm just kicking the wall back until my yard is even with the top of the wall. And I'm estimating that between 3 and 4 feet. And it'll make a nice clean look on the front. And then when, and again, I just want to copy, they've done it up and down the entire street. Some of them are new and some of them have been there for years. I'm looking to copy the ones that I know have been there for years. And again, I want both walls to be the same in front of both of my houses. And I want them to make it a nice clean look. I looked at all different kinds of the manufactured stone they have and all kinds of other things. And I think the only thing that I really like is I want to just use real stone.
Yeah.
And I don't want to use the masonry. I just want to stack it, make it between 3 and 4 feet, and just make it neat and clean. And I want it to be there for when my kids are looking at the house.
Right. The only reason I asked the question is because if it's a dry laid wall, and if it is also, as I see it, is going to end up acting as a retaining wall, you're going to have to make sure that you've somehow got it tied back or something, because I think over time it will tend to deteriorate, because a dry laid walls typically don't.
Yeah, I'm doing it the same way as the other wall down the street that's been there for as long as I know. Yeah. And that's all the larger rocks, so it doesn't deteriorate like that.
Okay.
It's so I know what you're saying about if you're using, stones that you're going to be picking up and laying down and whatnot. I want to use the larger stones and lay it out and make it look like it's at 377 High Street. It's a few houses down. They're larger stones. They're not moving anywhere in a dry lay.
Yeah. So what I would suggest if you come back with is you may want to have some photographs of those similar walls so we have a better idea.
I do, sir. If you go up.
You got them?
Yes, sir. If you keep going. It's that wall right there. See the larger stones there? It's all dry laid.
Yeah, okay, and so in that case, the grade on the back is the same as the height of the wall at the rear.
Correct. Yep. So it's nothing, and that wall there, there's several others in the neighborhood, but that one's just a few houses down from mine.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same application. That's what I want it to look like. I don't want to, you know, I understand what you're saying about that portion of it. I'm not gonna, that's why I'm staying between the 3 and 4 feet. That's why I'm using the larger rocks, and I want to keep it consistent in between both houses.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments or feedback for Jay?
What are you going to do about the remnants of the old wall further up? Just curious.
It's really not even, I'm going to keep the stones, and I'd like to repurpose them somewhere on the property. There's just there's not a lot of them. I can move them all by hand, the ones that are up there. If you look to the right of that picture we're looking at right now, that's a property line with those, the bigger ones. So I wouldn't even touch those. But to the left of it, those will just be repurposed throughout the yard.
Okay.
And again, I just want it to be a neat, clean look.
So Jay, this was a pre-application hearing?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I believe,
sorry.
Linda, you already have his application, so he'll be on the agenda for the July 7th meeting?
I will have to look at what I've got, and it's in the office.
Okay.
And I'll reach out if I have anything that I need further.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and ma'am, thank you so much for being as accommodating as you've been with the answering your questions and whatnot for me. I greatly appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So I think you have everything you need in your application, Jay. You don't need any additional materials. So just, if Linda needs anything to get you on the calendar, she'll let you know, but otherwise you can plan on being at the July 7th meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And if any questions come up, please contact me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's all of our pre-apps. Yes, there was someone there. It was a guest. They're gone now.
What happened to the woman who was against the vinyl fence there, the next door neighbor?
She hung up.
Yeah.
All right, I've lost my thing here.
I found the email I received from Mr. Falco on that. I just wanted to give a heads up on that. He said, Linda wanted to give you a heads up. Mike Hardesty asked me to step down, representative to the meeting. Eric's design build will be taken over. Please keep him on the agenda for Tuesday. But that's it.
No
Doesn't say anything on
attachments.
the plans or anything else. So.
All right, public communications? None?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Approval of the minutes from June 6th, 2020. I move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Moriarty, aye. Janikopoulos,
Aye.
Brady,
Aye.
Levinson,
Aye.
Goodman. Minutes are approved. Old business.
Did we ever decide, we had the issue about whether we have jurisdiction about taking things like fences down?
I think we decided that for them to remove a fence, that they needed to come before us with an application because certain fences, as was mentioned, like the iron fences might want to be preserved rather than taken down. So I think they just were supposed to come before us.
All right.
Anything else? No. New business? Nothing? Everyone's tired?
That was a long one.
Yeah. All right.
At least you didn't fade this time, Heather. That was good.
I'm still here.
Although it is darker.
I'm not orange.
Well, we continued enough hearings that we're going to be just the same next time.
I know, that's true. So, all right, well, if there's nothing else, then I will move to adjourn. All right, we're adjourned.
You're adjourned.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.